Today, we're flying across the Atlantic on one of Europe's most obscure airlines. World2Fly is a relatively new Spanish leisure airline built around flying holiday passengers on long-haul routes in between Spain, the Caribbean, and even a tiny bit of South America. Though far from the massive boring flag carrier with lie-flat business class seats and hundreds of airplanes. In fact, their entire operation is built around a small fleet of 7 Airbus wide-body aircrafts that are in a pretty infamous high-density configuration. Meaning that it's all economy class, and they're supposed to be flying us all the way across the Atlantic tonight. So, the plan today is to take World2Fly's Airbus A330 from where we left off on a pretty rare MD-80 in the last video from Santo Domingo, and take them all the way over to Madrid and see what this unknown Spanish airline is actually like on the long haul. So, how is this all-economy configured widebody gonna hold up on a long-haul redeye? How comfortable are the seats? What's the economy experience actually like? Are they gonna be worth it if the price is right? What will we really get with the $370 US price tag I paid? And what kind of service will we actually get with it? What's going on, guys? Casey Farah here. Let's go see how this all-economy configured leisure airline is doing at competing with all the major airlines crossing the Atlantic tonight. Let's go check in. There is an airline app, and it does offer online check-in 48 hours before departure. Check-in is pretty standard, and it only touches a few basics. After confirming that we aren't carrying anything fiery or army, we'll then confirm our passport information, which you already know, so we can just blow right through that. Lastly, we'll get another chance to change our seats or add on any extras. We can then get an electronic boarding pass into our mobile wallet, but chances are pretty high that we'll have to get a paper boarding pass at the airport. Which I did. Alright, we're about 10 minutes out from when we have to start lining up and board. So far, everything is pretty on time and uneventful. I've just been perched here in the airport after filming that redeye MD-80 in the last video. About 8 hours ago, I've been sitting here and not really doing anything, but I'm totally cool with that. It's 90 degrees outside, which is way too hot to go out and explore the city, and I also didn't really want to deal with that 40-minute drive into Santo Domingo. But yeah, again, totally cool with that. If anything, this was actually filmed on the day that Spain won the World Cup. Not that I watch sports or anything, or really cared for that matter. But yeah, this was filmed on the day that Spain won the World Cup. So the general atmosphere of the airport has just been really cool and loud and really fun. And it's been playing all over the TVs, and the entire airport has been watching it. So the overall vibe over the course of the day while that was playing was really cool and fun. But yeah, it's kind of cool how that worked out as well, how we're flying up to Spain tonight, and they won. But speaking of, we are lining up now, so I'll go ahead and catch you guys on board at the seat. Boarding was honestly pure chaos because it was just everybody trying to converge into one small lane at the same spot instead of at least 2 lanes like most other carriers do it. Nonetheless, Charlie Sierra Whiskey Foxtrot Papa will be the 16-year-old A330 up to Europe tonight. It has a pretty crazy operator history, as we can see. All the operators with their respective dates and registrations according to planespotters.net are on your screen. Feel free to pause to see that in more detail. But basically, since entering service back in 2010, it flew for a handful of charter companies that wet leased it to other airlines all around Europe. And then in 2021, World2Fly took delivery of the aircraft. From there, it was then wet leased to Garuda Indonesia, and even a tiny bit of Jet too. And at the moment, in June of 2026, it's back to flying for World2Fly. Hey, how are you? 10 Alpha?
10 Alpha?
Yes.
Hola.
I made the quick walk up to my home for the next 8 hours. Seat 10A is one of the 388 economy seats on this all-economy and high-density bird, and it has a width of 18 inches. A very tight pitch of 30 inches for legroom, which is 1 point on my seat to the same point of the seat in front of me, and a recline of 3. After I got to my seat, they started playing Die Die by Shakira for really no reason, and quite honestly, it was loud, overstimulating, and completely unnecessary to myself and all the other passengers. Alright, welcome aboard the World2Fly Airbus A330-300 up to Madrid. They actually boarded us from the back to front from groups 3 backwards to 1, which was kind of interesting. Studies do technically show that that's faster to board that way, so it's kind of cool how they do that. So me and group 1 seated in the front was one of the last people to board. But yeah, first impressions so far, don't love it. Could be better, but could be worse. It does look like there's Wi-Fi to connect to, so we'll go ahead and see what that's all about once we get airborne. I didn't see it when I went into my Wi-Fi settings. The World2Fly network that they have advertised here on the back of the seat, I didn't see that, so it'll probably be available once we get airborne. So we'll check that out. And there is also in-seat power, technically, a very sad-looking USB-A outlet hiding under the seat. It's of course off right now, so praying to God that comes on once we either get started up or get in the air. I don't want another repeat of the privilege tower incident from the last video, where we did have that USB-A plug, but it never worked, and pretty much everything that could go wrong with power and charging pretty much went wrong with power and charging. But yeah, hopefully that Wi-Fi and power comes on, because I have battery packs, but not battery packs to spare. But yeah, apart from that, the seat dimensions, the good news with the seat dimensions is that they're very thick, very cushiony, very comfy. The recline feels like it goes back pretty far. It's only 3 inches, but it feels pretty good. But really, the only thing I don't love is just the pitch of legroom. So we only have about 30 inches of pitch down there. So it's a high density plane, and the seats are squeezed together, so we have no legroom up here, so only 30 inches of pitch. But there's no parts under the seat that kind of restrict my legs from stretching under. So right now the legroom actually isn't that big of an issue if I'm just stretching under. There's nothing obstructing my legs under there from stretching under. But yeah, lights are coming on. The cabin crew are doing their final cabin checks. So I'll talk to you guys once we get airborne. Boarding back to front definitely seemed to work at getting everybody on quicker, because that was us out of the gate 10 minutes early. Alright, we are airborne out of Santo Domingo and on our way up to Madrid. After takeoff, the cabin crew came on the PA, just doing a thing describing the services we'll get on the flight. So just the standard dinner service after departure and breakfast service before landing. And one of the crew members actually came back to confirm with me that I ordered a special meal. Basically, all that means is just one of the meals that you can pre-order on the website or app when you book, and just pre-order online. I ordered some kind of fish dish, if I remember correctly, so we'll see what that's all about once that gets to us. But yeah, apart from that, there is no Wi-Fi. So, despite the seatback suggesting a World2Fly Wi-Fi network and entertainment, there is no Wi-Fi. I went into my Wi-Fi settings, and there is no World2Fly Wi-Fi network. In that announcement, they also mentioned something regarding an in-flight movie. They came back offering earbuds for that in-flight movie. There are screens that folded down in the center row of the aircraft, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but if they did say in-flight movie, that could be why. But there aren't any that folded down in these outside seats by the windows, except for this one monitor up front, which I guess we'll just have to squint to look at. For people all the way in the back, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but just get up kinda and like squint back this far back. But yeah, we have that one monitor up front in the outside seats, but on the center seats, just the monitors that folded down from the ceiling. But yeah, I don't know. There are also seat controls, so like volume controls, flight attendant call button, seat light, so seat controls, and it does have volume buttons. So those three probably do connect to an in-flight movie. So yeah, we'll see what that ends up being all about, if that plays, when that plays. But yeah, which is kind of weird, but you know what, I'll take it. But on a good note, the in-seat power down there does work. There is a green light on it indicating that it is in fact working. I'm not gonna lie to you, I had my doubts about that. I did not think it would work, just because I still have PTSD from filming that Privilege Star video on the last long haul, where that 777 in-seat power USB-A did not work at all the entire flight, and I had to use my power banks, and that died before landing. So yeah, my battery was kind of running on fumes by the end of that. But yeah, 10 minutes after takeoff, the in-seat power down there came on, which is nice. But yeah, apart from that, just sit back, relax, look out the window. The wing light is off and just open ocean, so the views outside are going to be absolutely nothing. So yeah, just sit back, sit tight, and wait for dinner. Yeah, there was no in-flight movie, so no clue why the crew gave us those earbuds. If you're like me and end up flying these guys with no Wi-Fi, then best of luck keeping busy. After a quick AI research session, I found out that if you're lucky enough to have the Wi-Fi work perfectly, then you can pay for internet that ranges from 6 USD to 30 USD, and it has the ability to message and browse. The browsing speed depends on how much you paid. It also has the ability to stream, but it isn't known to. The Bring Your Own Device entertainment browser is supposed to feature a decent selection of movies and TV, documentaries, music, podcasts, audiobooks, games, and the Kids Zone. Alright, the dinner service has been served on World2Fly, and passengers that pre-ordered their meals actually got served first, and everyone that kind of got the standard meal got served with the standard meal service and drink service not too long after the pre-ordered meals came through and got served first. But yeah, I opted for the seafood dish. So Exhibit A, we got a salmon right here. So salmon with, I want to say, potatoes right there. Exhibit B, B for bread. B for 2 pieces of bread right here, 2 variants of bread. Exhibit C, we got the healthy stuff here. So mushrooms, I'm pretty sure in there. But yeah, got the healthy stuff there. And Exhibit D for desserts right here. Some kind of cake. Honestly, I have no idea what this is. I'm no foodie, so if you want to roast me in the comments, I totally understand. And last but certainly not least, we got a beer right here. So yeah, Mohau, I'm pretty sure. Whatever beer this is, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, when the cabin crew served me my meal, he asked me what drink I wanted. I asked for the options and for clarification, and the options were either going to be water, apple juice, orange juice, red wine, or beer. The special meals were 34 US dollars when I pre-ordered, so the alcohol is included in that. But yeah, let's go ahead and taste that salmon and see if it is as decent as it looks. Okay, it's not the worst. The salmon itself doesn't really have any taste at all, but the juice kind of at the bottom is what gives it the taste. It's not really a bad taste, but yeah, it has an alright aftertaste, not really that bad, but it has some kind of like aftertaste that kind of leaves, and I can still kind of taste it, and I would still need that beer to wash it down. But yeah, if anything, that juice there at the bottom is what gives it a taste, and it's very subtle. Not saying it's bad, but just subtle. But yeah, alright salmon, for what it is. I've had worse. But let's go ahead and try that beer, what we've all been waiting for. I'm not a beer junkie. I don't claim to be, but it tastes like any other beer that I've had. Bud Light, Budweiser, Coors. Okay, maybe not Coors. Not gonna just the Colorado beer. But yeah, Bud Light, Budweiser. It tastes like beer. It is beer. It's alright. But yeah, I'm just gonna sit back, relax, eat up. Probably not look outside a whole lot because it's dark and we're over open ocean and there's nothing to look at. So I'm just gonna eat up and hopefully try to sleep. I got a pretty full day of flying tomorrow after we land in Madrid. So yeah, if anything, eat up and try to get to rest, and I'll catch up with you guys with an update further in the flight. Alright, good morning. Sun's up, and we're about an hour and a half away from landing, and the crew is coming through with the breakfast service. The seat provided an okay amount of rest. The recline it had did okay. The legroom wasn't ideal, but I made it work. My legs were able to stretch all the way under the seat in front of me, but all the way under, and they were going all the way to the front of that seat, making it not ideal and not the best for my seatmate in front of me, but they didn't really seem to care. But yeah, and they didn't say anything, so I don't really think it mattered anyway. But yeah, they were stretching all the way under the seat to the front of the seat in front of me, but it worked out. The recline and the amount of legroom down there worked out and made it work for an okay amount of rest. But yeah, with both seating positions, both laid back in the seat like this and laying on the wall like this, both allowed for a pretty good amount of rest. I'm not gonna lie, I probably would have gotten more rest if I didn't have to worry about filming. But yeah, I think the seat just passed for giving me rest. I am also only 5'7", so anyone under 6 feet and trying to get rest, honestly, good luck with that, with these high-density economy cabins. But yeah, breakfast has been served. Got a melted cheese plate here as Exhibit A. It's very hot as well. So this melted cheese on something. Not entirely sure what that is. I'm not a foodie, so if you want to roast me in the comments, I totally understand. Exhibit B for bowl of fruit. Exhibit C for croissant. And Exhibit D, we got a coffee. And yeah, the crew have been giving me great hospitality with these services. And even went as far as asking me if I had enough milk and sugar for my coffee, which I do. It's almost like they're giving me extra attention for these special meals and pre-ordered meals, which, don't get me wrong, that makes sense because I paid $35 extra for this added special meal, so it does make sense that they're taking extra good care of me or extra good care of the passengers that are paying extra for that and not giving as much attention in the standard meal service. But yeah, it makes sense that they are giving me extra attention because I paid extra. But yeah, let's go ahead and see if that hot melted cheese tastes as hot as it looks. It's lasagna. I promise to know what lasagna is. But yeah, this was just lasagna. But yeah, the lasagna on World2Fly, it was alright. It would taste a lot better if it was warmer, but I just waited a little bit for it to cool down, so that's on me. But yeah, I like it. It tastes pretty good. For me to blank on what lasagna was in the beginning, and for that taste to remind me, oh shoot, this is lasagna. Yeah, I'd say that lasagna is actually pretty good. And the coffee just tastes like generic airplane coffee, I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, lasagna for breakfast, I think World2Fly did pretty good at. Alright, welcome to the Lou review on the World2Fly A330. First impressions, it's alright. It's clean. Pretty good presentation. Don't love how the sink is a bit clogged up with soap there, but that's fine. The water pressure is a little bit on the high side, but high water pressure could be a good thing. We got a mirror with some pretty nice lights on it, along with a plug here if you need that. Air vent. Changing table. I don't love how they're completely out of paper towels and out of toilet paper. So if you end up needing both and it's too late to realize that you are out and you need it, then you're kind of out of luck. So yeah, don't love how that this lab isn't stocked with toilet paper. But yeah, apart from that, it's pretty nice. Alright, while I was in the lab, we made landfall over Spain and we're almost to top of the sun. Alright, we're starting our approach into Madrid. The NC power down there is turned off, so we are now less than 10 minutes away from touchdown. So I'm going to go ahead and use the rest of the flight time on the way in to rate the flight and the airline using my channel original rating system. I call it the Raleigh rating scale, very creatively named that because my first name is Raleigh. If you're new here, I use this scale to rate all the airlines I fly on at the end of every one of my airline reviews. It uses 6 different categories to see how well the airline did at each of the 6. But if you're not new here, good job. Congrats. You made it this far in the video. How do you guys think World2Fly did today? Well, let's go touchdown in Madrid and find out. The service was a 10 out of 10, as the crew took amazing care of us and were efficient with getting us out 10 minutes early. They gave me my meal first, as I paid a little extra for one of the special pre-ordered meals. They were also efficient and friendly with the standard meal, drink, and breakfast services following. They checked in on me multiple times during the main meal service with my pre-ordered meal. The airline leans toward the no-frills model with a relatively low base fare advertised up front, so it makes sense why, but it'd be nice to see a lower price tag on the special meals. They were alright, but not 34 USD alright. They did, however, give me lots of attention when they served my pre-ordered meals, and I'd say that felt almost worth it for 34 USD. During lights out, when they wanted all the window shades closed, they allowed me to have a window open to film out of after the sun came up, so that was helpful to film. Along with the drinks that shipped with the pre-ordered meal, they then offered me more drinks in the standard drink cart with both meals. Overall, it was great hospitality. The cleanliness was a 9 out of 10, as it was a relatively clean and presentable cabin at the seat and all around the cabin. The blue and purple cabin lighting gave a relaxing atmosphere for everyone to sleep in during lights out. The seats were pretty old school, but I think the airline did an okay job at maintaining them. There are some stains and dirt spots in the seat area if you look hard enough, but that's it. I'm just referring to the seat back behind the tray table, but that was the only bad spot throughout the entire cabin that I noticed. The Wi-Fi was a 5 out of 10. As none was available on this flight as it was inoperative on this specific aircraft, but apparently the airline does offer it. When it does work, then it has the ability to browse the internet for 30 USD and message for just 6 USD for the whole flight. It's been known to stream, but don't rely on it. The food was a 7 out of 10, as there are plenty of selections to pre-order online, but I don't think what I had was worth the $34. It was pretty fulfilling for what it was, but the taste of the salmon was really only there from the sauce it was served in. It wasn't a horrible taste, and that with the main meal itself barely got the job done. The breakfast was the lasagna dish, which was hot and tasted good enough for me to remember its name. Not my best moment. The entertainment was a 6 out of 10. So normally, what the bring your own entertainment device entertainment system would be is what the airline claims to be a wide selection of movies and TV. I'll be nice and take their word for it. It also has the other basic entertainment system items like music, documentaries, podcasts, audiobooks, and video games. It also has the Wi-Fi network that you have to pay for, but it only has the ability to browse the internet or message. Apart from that, the only thing provided by the airline to help occupy us on board that actually worked on this aircraft is the in-seat power, and it was on from 10 minutes after takeoff to 10 minutes before landing. It'd be nice if it was a universal power outlet, which would be a lot more accessible as opposed to just USB-A, and that isn't even guaranteed to work, so be prepared if it doesn't. I actually had to use it to charge my power bank to prepare for worst case scenario. There's no personal seatback IFE at every seat, and there was never an in-flight movie, so I have no clue why the crew were handing out those earbuds. The Wi-Fi was inoperative on this aircraft, so that in the entertainment browser was non-existent. So download something and be prepared if that Wi-Fi network ends up not actually being available. The airline really needed to get their act together with the Wi-Fi. It is good that it works on other aircrafts, but if you get unfortunate enough to get on this aircraft for a 9-hour flight to the Caribbean, then tough luck, enjoy the boredom. The seat was an 8 out of 10, as it was a standard economy seat and the legroom was the only thing it was lacking. This was a high density configuration trying to squeeze as much seat rows as possible, so that takes away multiple inches of legroom in the end. The recliner was pretty good, and it allowed for enough rest despite the legroom, and my legs fit under the seat no problem. But good luck stretching though if you are anywhere over 5 feet. Apart from that, it was cushioned and comfortable to sit on, and not firm at all. The only entertainment amenity included with the seat is the power and no seatback monitor. As mentioned, it would be nice to have a universal outlet instead of the USB-A. So the overall rating for the airline is going to be a 7.5 out of 10. We also got to deplane on a remote stand on the ramp. I won't complain about that coming from a wide body. On the drive on the ramp back to the terminal, we were treated to some spotting goodies that Madrid Barajas has to offer. Alright, and that is us down in Madrid. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video as much as I did finding out that World2Fly actually has a proper entertainment system and that approach and landing into Madrid. But yeah, my final thoughts on World2Fly and if it's worth the 370 USD I paid for it. Since this specific flight was an eastbound redeye, I'd say yes. Even with the inoperative Wi-Fi, I would say it's still worth it for a transatlantic flight, just because it's a redeye and you can just sleep to pass time, and that's exactly what I did. But anything during the day and going the other direction that's longer, you're gonna want that Wi-Fi to work no matter what, even if that Wi-Fi can't stream. And according to World2Fly too, apparently the entertainment system has a pretty extensive amount of movies and TV, which, like I said, I'll be nice and take their word for it. It has a decent amount of movies and TV to choose from. But yeah, anything going westbound and longer, you're gonna want that Wi-Fi to work. But for this case, with the inoperative Wi-Fi, I thought it was okay and just barely passed, being a 7.5 hour eastbound redeye, and you could just sleep, and the seat provided an okay amount of rest. I'm not very tall. If you're anything over 6 feet, I wish you luck in getting rest. But yeah, for me, it was okay. Even with the seat and the high density economy cabin, it was alright. It just barely got through. But yeah, I gotta go run over to Terminal 2 to catch the next airline out of here. So I look forward to bringing you guys on that airline on that next adventure. Bye for now.